Bernie Sanders mittens spark new opportunities. So this was one of my, and then when I found the Bernie mitts, I got even more excited. Always made my own jam, made my own pickles. I have baked bread, not a lot of it because it doesn't always turn out, but I do a lot of baking, cooking. We don't eat out. If we eat out, it might be once a month. That's just the way we are. I prefer to stay home and do all that at home. It doesn't bother me to cook and things like that. It was always make things yourself. Like you grow a garden, make your pickles, make your jams, do those kind of things where we didn't have secondhand stores, but you were your hand-me-downs. As I was having kids, I decided that's something I wanted to push was sustainability, using up things. And I've always been kind of, because where we grew up, where my kids grew up, was like Mennonite country. And so the Mennonites were like, they do have their own farms, they have no electricity. Most of them had no electricity. They had wood stoves, they had, but they made all their clothes, they made all their food. So, and I used to go to the market all the time. We had big, huge markets where you could go and buy things from the Mennonites or from all the farmers. So that kind of was my influence, I think, more than anything. And then as I had more time, of course, when I retired, I thought, well, now what am I going to do? So this fit in perfectly with my way of doing things. So we joined like a craft group. The ladies all get together, we all do our crafts. And so one of the ladies did it there, and I thought, oh, and I started out of partially out of boredom, because we had just moved here and my husband was away working. I was here all by myself, all day long, all night long, and I was going crazy. So I thought I need something to do. And so I started picking up the odd sweaters and then started trying it, and it worked. And that was 5 years ago. Here's a nice bright colored one, it's missing its sleeves. But you take a sweater similar to this and you shrink it. Once you shrink it, the wool melds together, felts together. So it's called like a felting process. So that's the first step, is finding something that is 100%, 80 to 100 felts is the best. Gives you the best end product, I guess you could say. So sometimes I find them online on Kijiji. Somebody might be selling sweaters. I source them mostly through thrift stores. But then I have friends that do it as well. They go to thrift stores. I have a sister-in-law in Halifax, outside of Halifax, and she goes thrifting, and she'll send me a picture. What do you think of this one? What do you think of that? Yep, hold on to it. And then we exchange. These are some of my favorites, the pink ones. And then they had a pink, and then the black cuff. So when I see a sweater like this, I get all excited. This is an already felted sweater. So we take the felted sweater, and that's where it starts. And then this would no doubt be like this part, the hand, and then this is the top. I usually use a colored one, as you can see. This one here was in really bad shape. The front was full of holes. This was the back of the mitten. The cuffs were all full of holes, so we couldn't use the cuffs on this one. So then we used cuffs from another sweater. But no, that sweater probably wouldn't have been worn again. I source it, I wash it, I sew it. But what I'll do is I'll cut like all the mittens out. One day I'll just take a day and just cut. So my sweaters have all been washed. Then I start cutting the sweaters up, and then I start cutting these up. I use templates when I do it instead of a paper pattern. It's just called a quilting template plastic. So that you would make templates for quilting and things like that. So I make mine out of that. And then what I would do is I would take a good spot on the sweater, go like this. You draw around it and then cut it out. You have your pieces. When I'm ready to sew, like this morning when I sat down to sew these, everything was all cut out. Here's the tops, here's the cuff, and here's the palms. All the liners already cut. So I took a day and cut and sewed some of the liners. So then that takes me maybe 15-20 minutes. And because they're double layered, and because you felted the wool, the wind and the rain doesn't go through it. So that is kind of like that's how I kind of work. Then at night, like I said, and then and sew the cuffs. So this one here, let's see, I've got another pair here. So this was 2 sweaters. So I usually have 2 sweaters, a back, like a plain, that's how I do it, a plain, and then a colored. So I got at least 4 to 5 pairs, because you know the cuffs will make 3 each, because you got the bottom of the cuff, the front and the back. So that's how I kind of gauge the cuffs are the important part, because they glue it together more or less. At least 5 to 6 pairs out of 2 sweaters. So this is the instructions, how to make them, and some pattern pieces. So I can promote it to other people and say, look, you can make your own. It's not hard. So I sell these as well as my mittens. So I'm thinking, well, why not promote it? Why not let people learn how to do it their own way, get their own sweaters, and do it? My kids come over and they go, Grandma, can I play with your yardage? They call that the yardage. And they want to play with it and make something into it. Fine, see what we can do. We made poop emoji cushions one day. And I sewed it and they stuffed it with all that stuff and used it up. That's what we stuffed it with that time. We don't waste anything. The smallest, and here, over here we have, let's see these. Guess what these are? Pen cushions, and they're just rolled up pieces that I had left over. Gift card holders.
So
the
cool.
gift card fits inside, and then you hang that, and then at the end you have a gift. So we saved cardboard again, and we have a Christmas tree ornament. These are like, I guess you could call them table toppers, and they're made out of a wool felt, but you can still do pieces of sweaters. Like sometimes you find lighter sweaters and you think, what am I gonna do with a lighter sweater that's not heavy enough? So then I get thinking again.
Yeah.
And our tea cozies, of course. Every winter is the craft shows. So I just do it like in the wintertime mostly, but I work all year round. I think I maybe take a break at Christmas, about a month, but I don't do anything. Between like the last show in December and January, and then I start over again.